Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Hello, Roberta. I'm so glad that you're going to be talking with us today. Roberta Hladek, and it's actually a wonderful organization. We've talked with her so many times. She's the CEO and co-founder of Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness, and it's really the AIM program that I've been on and I love, and we talk about so many things. So, hello and good morning.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
It's always such a pleasure. And the AIM program is a healing technology, and boy, don't we need it now.
Yes. I know everyone's probably a little nervous, maybe a little anxious about everything that we're hearing in the news. So it's perfect timing for our call today.
Absolutely. Tell me your take on all this. Would you do that, please?
Well, it's kind of, I don't always watch the news, so I'm not, I figure if something's going to happen, I'm going to hear about it one way or the other. What we at the AIM program do, and what I do, is try to keep us, we make a maximum effort, I would say, to identify any balancing energies related to things that we can acquire, from infections to flus or the latest virus in the news, which is what we're dealing with on these days. We did a few calls, too, that we speak about what the program can do and help you with, that we have on our website that you can also listen to, that are pre-recorded. But while AIM or anything else can't really protect us all from exposures to any of these things and challenges that we may face, by maintaining a high life force, which is what the AIM program does for us, is it helps us to remove imbalances or frequencies within us that weigh us down. It's kind of pulling the shade up or opening those barriers that we may have had, and brings our life force up higher. And as long as we have a high life force, which is our healing capacity, then it helps us to kind of ward off a lot of this stuff. Or when and if we get them, then it's easier for us to recover from them and remove them from our bodies, along with good self-care practices such as washing your hands. That's probably one of the biggest things. And also, if you're sneezing out in public, you know, if you don't have a Kleenex or something with you, use your coat, your jacket, your sleeve, whatever, just so that it's not spraying all over, and try and, you know, be conscious of those kind of things. And that's basically what we can do. Also, you know, I take a lot of vitamins and try and things like that. I take zinc, and zinc is a good one, too, to help us. To kind of...
Is it really zinc?
Yeah, that's what I hear a lot of different things, and I kind of research things, and I'm not a doctor. I don't really work in health per se. We work with energy, which is a little different side of health. I'm not a healthcare practitioner, so that's just what I do. So there's different things that we can all do to keep our life force up and keep ourselves healthy during this time. We really don't, you know, I don't think anybody really knows, but we have so many things that, similar to flus that we've had, you know, in our lifetimes. You know, we've gone through, I mean, every year we have huge influx of flus, and people transition from the flu, and I think a lot of times it's just how healthy are we? What is going on in our bodies? Are we susceptible? Are we, you know, one of those people that maybe isn't real healthy? So these things then tax us even more. So although I stay vigilant, I'm really careful when I go out in public, and I always am washing my hands, and I've always done that. So I think that's one of the main things you can do, is just keep your hands washed and stay away from, if somebody's sick, don't go and get close to them, you know, kind of stay away until it subsides.
A lot of people are deciding not to travel, not to get, because, you know, when you think about it, you get on a plane, you're really you're really like a prisoner there. You can't get away from something.
Well, yeah, because they just recirculate the air, and I don't know that there's anything that they can put in the air when it recirculates to help kill bugs or whatever, but if they aren't, they should. Traveling probably, if you have health challenges, it probably isn't a good time to be traveling until we know what's really going on. I know in California, the tennis tournament out in Indian Wells was canceled.
Right.
And that's the biggest tennis tournament, with all the players. So I don't really know about that. I don't know if they're now going to start canceling any big events. I know that some of the bands, the rock bands and musical bands going overseas and stuff, have canceled trips going overseas. And I understand that because some of those areas have a higher influx than this. Plus, when we travel somewhere else, we don't have the same bugs as they do.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
When you go somewhere else, you may be exposed to something you've never been exposed to. So it may tax you more than normal.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, being conscious of things and not getting all scared about it, but just be vigilant, be conscious, and do what you do. Hang on to, keep taking your vitamins, get your rest, eat well, and just, I was listening to a doctor the other day speak about all this stuff, and he said that, the same thing I was saying, washing your hands, and when you go to a get-together, don't eat the finger foods. He said, stay away from anything where everybody else is touching.
That's a good
Stay
point.
away from buffets. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He was saying to stay away from buffets and that kind of thing, just kind of common sense. And he was saying that he had gone into a doctor's office, a colleague of his, and they had a big bowl of M&Ms. And he said everybody was grabbing handfuls of M&Ms, and he thought, oh, boy. He said he could just see it. And he said, I'm a germaphobe, maybe. I don't know. But he said to me that was, a little much for right now.
That's very funny, right? But it isn't funny, but it's true. Well, I have been some conferences I expected to go. Even one at the end of the month was just canceled at the University of Miami. As a matter of fact, it was a medical conference, and it was canceled.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. I see that, it is a concern. And when you get a lot of people together, whoever's putting it on, they're sort of responsible for everyone's health in a way. So I suppose, there is a legality to that too. That if someone were to, contract something there, then, there may be, in the world we live in, anything, is possible, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I have a friend who has a cold, and she was going into work, and she always said, do not come to work.
No. Yeah, you might as well stay home, take care of yourself.
Because you don't know what it's going to turn into, huh?
Yeah. I think so. I think if I wasn't feeling good, I don't think I would be going into work, especially if you have a fever. I always say if I've got a fever, stay home because you're contagious.
Okay, but then the next question is, I want to get tested. I want to know if it's more. How do you do that?
That, I guess, I haven't, like I said, I haven't been up on all of the news, so I'm not sure. I guess you contact your physician and tell them what your symptoms are and say that you want to be tested and see, they have to request the test, I guess. I don't really know. It sounded to me, the last I had watched a snippet a couple days ago, and they were saying that there wasn't enough testing kits.
Right.
And so I'm not sure how they decide who gets tested and who doesn't, or if there's another way they can tell other than the test.
And then the other thing, Roberta, is that I heard on the radio on I guess it was NPR, said the doctors say don't come in, go to the health department. And when you call the health department, they say, well, we don't have blah, blah, blah. And so you're kind of caught in between here. So the doctors are afraid if you come in and you have it, it could be bad. So I think it's very scary at this moment. Nobody really knows what to do. And especially an elder person who's more susceptible, a person that has asthmatic or lung conditions. So
Absolutely.
It's not clear. It's not, the CDC, I've been listening to the TV about it, and I don't get a very strong solution. But what I thought I was going to do in this issue coming up of April, to put in some of the really good information I'm getting from physicians and scientists and people not around the world, but maybe the United States, so people can just read it at least.
For sure. It's I think we think about it's a scary thing, and I think a lot of the people in that age group with health issues, that's the most important one. I think if we had any testing for them, that would be the people that should be tested immediately. But I agree. We've just got to, it's a hard one. It's a hard call to make because we have people that die of the flu every year, all of these other things that come up, and this is being, it's pretty in the news. People are being, it's kind of a panic.
Excuse me, but here, Italy, they have locked down the whole country because they've had so many people with it, and they don't want any more exposure. Yeah. But that's pretty serious.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I think, hopefully, I'm out in California today, and it rained really hard the last couple of days, so I was hoping that maybe that kind of washed everything away. And, maybe I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just kind of, thinking from hope, I guess, that it's all gone. But I know in the stores, the shelves you can't find a bottle of bleach to save your life.
I know, that's funny. I did buy a bottle of alcohol, but I know, and people are buying all the paper towels and Kleenex and, oh, my God.
Toilet paper.
Yeah,
There's a roll of toilet paper to save your soul, So,
I mean, what do they think they're going to do with the toilet paper? You think they're going to have the runs, or what is that? I don't even know.
I think it's more that they're afraid that we're going to be like some of the other countries where they have quarantined. You're not able to get out of your home for a period of time. So, and I guess I was talking to a lady in one of the stores the other day, and she said that it was on the news that they said to have supplies. So she said the store was packed. And she said everything was gone, and they were all like, what is going on? And then somebody told her because she was at work and didn't hear it. So I think in some ways, I think the media kind of jumps the gun sometimes, and I think we need to be really careful of our fear factor. And like I said, take care of yourself, and if you're not feeling well, stay home, rest, drink plenty of fluids like they've always told us, and just self-care is the best. I know on the AIM program, we have a lot of frequencies to help us combat these things and help our bodies stay strong. So, and I'm doing my best to find any new frequencies that might be helpful to us. So,
well, did you find a frequency like this at all?
Yes.
Really? Tell it.
Yes.
Oh, so did you find
We've had, on the program and for years, we have had, quote unquote, coronavirus. And coronavirus, that frequency similar to that we have, is kind of like a cold or a flu. That's kind of what it is. And we've all had that. These are different strains. And like I was saying, that when you go to some other country where you've never been, you may pick up things that you've never been exposed to before. because it's a different part of the world. We're not used to eating that kind of food. We're not used to the things that go on there. So it's a new thing for us. So I have been, vigilant in trying to find frequencies and whatever to help increase our database and keep it current with frequencies that are similar to what's going on. And I have found different frequencies, and I have resources that I go to and to keep us up to current and up to date. So I'm doing that. So I'm pretty confident that we have those frequencies, and that'll help us all keep our bodies and our immune systems up high, and keep us healthy and spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So I think we're doing a pretty good, job on our part. I'm trying to do that, and it's not always like Stephen used to always say. It's not if you get it. It's when you get it, how fast you get over it.
Okay, so what does it actually look like when you see that? What happens on your computer? Like, is it red? Is it green? Yeah, what does it look like?
When I see a frequency?
Especially something like this.
Well, if you, I use a computerized system, so when it's a positive, it has a low sound. It has kind of a sound of the machine, and it goes really low, and that's positive. When it goes all the way to the top, it kind of goes, here.
Oh, really?
And that means it's negative.
Oh.
So, but I have not, so far, knock on wood, anyone that I have been testing, and I don't, let me clarify this, I don't test people that think they have some kind of a flu or bug.
Right.
I don't do that.
Right.
But in my daily testing, where I test the 5-month life force and the 11th month life force to make sure that we're rising to the life force and consciousness level that we should be while being on the program. And then I find if there's a reason why we're not rising, then I check to see why. And I haven't seen anyone so far in my testing that's come up with that. So, so far so good.
Right. And of course, my wonderful Jack has been on your program because it's a part of my family. And I have to tell you something, he is much better. He still has problems, but I got to tell you, he definitely is better.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good, because as we all have hereditary dispositions that are passed down from grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, aunts and uncles, maybe great-grandparents, all in our lineage. We all have that stuff. And what the AIM program helps us do is to release those hereditary dispositions. And when we release those, it raises our life force, which allows us to have more fight within us. And when we can fight off things, we are much stronger. Because, when you catch a cold or a flu, it seems like it kind of snowballs. You first start off with maybe you don't feel so good, and then you get the next thing, maybe it's the runny nose, maybe then it's a cough, or it's a stomach bug, or whatever it happens to be. And then you get through it. And so when we can raise our life force, it helps us to fight that off. It doesn't mean that we're never going to catch anything,
right,
because we're going to. It's just the way it is. I wish we could have a little plastic bubble around us that we wouldn't catch anything.
Right.
That would be, incredible, right? But
well, I always think that
germs
AIM
are
has,
good for us.
but I think AIM has a plastic bubble in a way. I know it's a plastic energy bubble, but because I don't really get sick. I just, it's but it's you're absolutely right. It's something that people have to be aware of, and they have to consider how to keep their immune system as well as they can. They have to eat properly. They have to sleep properly, and which I'm a little guilty of. But when I get sniffles, did I ever tell you this on the show? Because I've told a lot of people, if I get the sniffles and it looks like it's a cold or just something, at night I rub my feet with Vicks and put socks on. My feet with socks on.
Great idea.
And I I don't know how I learned about it. Someone said it's an old wives' tale, but I was with some Indian doctors the other day. I mentioned, I said, of course, that's what we all do in India. Really? Didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I knew one guy told me he gargles with Tito's vodka before he goes to bed and swallows it. And I was like, okay. And he goes, it works.
Yeah, because he goes to sleep, right? Oh, that's
so
very
he's
funny.
He's killing all the bugs, I guess.
Right, that's very
getting
funny.
Good sleep.
Right. Well, I think what it is when you have the Vicks on your feet, and it's in a sock, it permeates through you all the way up, so it just not putting it on your chest and all. But anyway, that's one of my little things. But, for dogs, see, we always talk about healing ourselves. How does a dog heal itself?
Well, our animals they're kind of like little kids because they don't know any different. They don't have all the news blaring in their heads, and they're not worrying about things. I had one participant call me, and she was just in a panic, and I felt so bad for her. And she had the news blaring in the background. And I told her, I go, first of all, turn that off. You can listen to the news once, but you don't have to listen to it all day long.
Yep, that's what they do.
You know it. Yeah, it's out there. Okay, fine. You got it. So now live your life and take your precautions and things like that. Now, animals, they only know that they love us and we're going to be there with them. And, Jack knows you're going to take care of him because you have. You're there, you feed him,
right,
and you walk him and you pet him and you're there with him. He knows you're going to come home when you leave. And so they don't know any different. So they're totally wide open. So they have no barriers and no preconceived decisions or questions or anything. So they just are open and everything goes out and the negative goes out and they just heal themselves. They're able to do that. It's like my cats, they're the same way. They get the sniffles. I chop up a little vitamin C and put it in an eyedropper with some water and I squirt it in their mouth.
Do you really?
I do, because our cat at work, they say that animals don't touch what we have, and I'm not sure I believe that one. It'd been a few years ago, and one of the girls had a terrible sinus cold thing. And our cat at work, Hazel, was sniffing and sneezing and her eyes were watering. And so I went and got some chewable orange-flavored vitamin C, for kids, and I smushed it up and I put some water in it. And I started giving it to her with an eyedropper, every couple of hours, just a few squirts. She didn't really care for it, but I made her do it. And by the end of the day, she was looking 100% better.
Is that right? I never heard of that. So it can't hurt. In other words, it can't hurt the animal because you're not giving it a lot. You're just giving it a teeny bit every once in a while, right?
Right. You're smashing it up and you're adding water to it. And it was, I put quite a bit of water with it. So it was pretty watered down. Plus half of it, goes down there. They don't really drink it.
Oh, you did it with a dropper.
Kind of squirt it in
so
there.
You did it with a dropper?
I had to squirt it. I had to use an eyedropper, and it helped. So I think they're wide open. They're like little kids, so they don't have any of the preconceived notions or ideas of what's going on. So.
Oh, that is terrific. Well, I didn't know that. I'm looking at you. You're so pretty. I'm looking at your picture. I got everything off your website, and it's there's a thing that's I've picked up here. Join our discussion of recent questions and updates, plus plenty of time for live listener questions. And I got this, and it was interesting. You have a lot of people who are, topics to live better, easy tips to sleeping better naturally. Why don't we, I know I'm jumping off to something else, but I thought that would be good because sleep is so important for your immune system. And so what are some of your tips to sleeping better naturally?
Well, a lot of times it's just exercising during the day, having a nice walk, maybe walk before in the evening after dinner. try not to look at your, a lot of times we look at computers or books or phones, and don't have a TV in your bedroom that you turn on and you watch.
I don't have one.
If you do want to, if you do want to, just read a book before you go to bed, and sometimes that will. And be careful what you read before you go to bed, too.
Oh, you're right. We don't want anything that sounds like detective, right?
Yeah, something to scare the bejesus out of us, I guess.
Okay. I see. That's very good advice, right? Because I usually work up until the time that I go to sleep, or I'm watching TV and it's the politics, and also that's it. And I don't fall asleep right away. I have like a meditation tape, but maybe I should try that, because when I do read, I do fall asleep, I must say.
Yeah, I do too. And sometimes I was doing crossword puzzles and stuff before I went to bed, but that kind of got my mind going too much, so I had to switch back to books.
Do you like crossword puzzles?
I do.
You must be pretty smart. I knew you were smart, but the New York Times.
I do the easy ones.
Oh, okay. Because sometimes I'm on an airplane and someone's left the New York Times something. I'll be darned, I can't figure out any of those answers.
No, I just do the crossword puzzle books.
I see.
I get those little books, and I do the crossword puzzles and those. Yeah, it's good for your brain. It's a way to keep your brain sharp.
It is. Well, you have a very sharp brain. And it's been such a wonderful thing talking to you today. I couldn't wait, really, because I thought that we ought to talk about this coronavirus and what people should be doing.
Yeah.
And as I said, in our next issue, coming up in April, I am going to put in some really important things, not, casual. I mean, everybody knows to stay home, but there's some really good scientific information I think people will find interesting, so I've got to get back on that and do it. But anyway, it's always so great, and I'm hoping you're going to have a very nice week, relaxing. Are you doing that?
Yes. Well, yes. We're closed tomorrow because of Albert Einstein's birthday.
Oh, really?
We always take Einstein's birthday off every year.
I love that. If you have to take one off, you ought to do his. He deserves it, doesn't he?
Well, he's our little mentor.
Oh, yes. Well, okay, Roberta. So thanks, kiddo, so much, and I look forward to talking to you again. And we didn't have room to put your last article in, but we'll keep doing it. We'll get them in.
Sounds good.
You're wonderful.
And thank you, and
you are
be
so
well,
great.
and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, kiddo. Bye, Roberta.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.